Hello and welcome to this video on how to convert raw scores into Rasch measures using the Mplus software. My name is Geiser. I'm an instructor and statistical consultant with QuantFish. So how do you get from raw scores to a Rasch scale in the Mplus software? For that, you have to fit a Rasch model to your items of your scale. And so I'm going to show you how to do this based on an example with 4 binary spatial ability test items. And I'm going to show you how to fit a Rasch model in Mplus, and then also how you can save the Rasch scores, the Rasch scale scores for all individuals to your data file. So let's get started and let's take a look at the Mplus input commands for a Rasch model that you can see here. So we're fitting a Rasch or one parameter logistic item response theory model to a set of spatial ability test items. You can see here in my variable names list, I have different types of variables. And so I'm going to select 4 items from this list, which are 4 spatial ability test items, SCR1 through SCR4. Those items are binary. Therefore, in Mplus, I have to use the categorical command to let Mplus know that those variables are not continuous. And that's an important step in fitting the Rasch model, because Mplus for a Rasch model expects binary or ordered categorical variables, and the categorical command tells Mplus that the variables are either binary or ordered categorical. Mplus then automatically determines whether the variables are dichotomous or whether they are polygamous, meaning if they have more than 2 categories, it will automatically find that out, and depending on whether they are binary or polygamous categorical, it will fit the proper Rasch model for those types of data. And then next, we specify in Mplus that the estimation method is maximum likelihood. And so that, in conjunction with specifying categorical variables in the variable command, then causes Mplus to use an item response theory model with a logistic regression or logit link function between the observed indicators and the underlying continuous latent trait variable. If you didn't specify estimator ML here, Mplus would default to an estimator that is called WLSMV. So then this would be an ordinal or binary factor analysis model. So it would not be an item response theory or Rasch model, but instead it would use a factor analysis for binary or ordinal data. The estimator would be different, and it would also be a limited information model where we would use tetrachoric or polychoric correlations between the ordered categorical or binary indicator variables, as opposed to using the full information in the observed item response pattern frequency. So this is what you need to do in order to get an IRT model, including a Rasch model. So estimator ML has to be specified, because that's not the default estimator in Mplus with categorical variables. And then other than that, the model specification in Mplus looks like a factor model. So here under model, you can see we have a factor specified theta. So that's a label that I chose for the underlying latent trait variable. Theta is often used, that terminology, in item response theory to indicate the underlying continuous latent trait variable. And so theta is measured by my items here, and the factor loadings are all fixed to 1, so that we have equal item discrimination parameters in the sense of IRT, and that then makes this a Rasch model, because in the Rasch model we have equal slopes of the item characteristic curves, meaning all the items are assumed to have equal discrimination. The items can only differ in their location parameter, meaning in their difficulty parameter, and that is automatically estimated as a so-called threshold parameter by Mplus. So that's another critical step in specifying a Rasch measurement model in Mplus, is that you have to specify a factor name, and you have to make sure that all factor loadings in this factor model are fixed to 1, so that they're all equal. Yeah, then I also specified output tag 10, which is a way of assessing model fit. This gives me the observed item response pattern frequencies along with the model implied response pattern frequencies and also standardized residuals such as z-scores, which allows me to compare the observed and model estimated response pattern frequency so that I can assess model misfit and I can determine whether there are any response patterns that are not well reproduced by the model. And then I specified the plot option to get item characteristic and other curves, other plots that can be used to look at the item information and also at the item characteristic curves. And then critical for saving the Rasch scores is the save data command. The save data command in Mplus allows us to save a version of our data file that has additional information such as estimated Rasch scores. And so here I specified that the new file that I want to save is named rasch.dat. So then this becomes a new file. My old file irt.txt that has my data will not be changed, but instead I'm generating a new data file that will then have the name rasch.dat, and I'm saving factor scores, so save equals f scores, and so that then allows me to save the theta scores for each individual, and that can be used as a Rasch scale score. And we will take a look at what that looks like, this data file, in a little bit. So then after that, so that's my input file, my syntax. After that comes the output. You can see that the input reading here terminated normally. This was based on 345 cases, so not a very large sample. And we have 4 items here, which are listed here again, and Mplus properly recognized them as binary or ordered categorical, meaning ordinal variables. In this case, they were all binaries, correct, incorrect, 0, 1 scored items. The estimation method was maximum likelihood for an IRT model. You can also verify here under the technical specifications that a logit link function was used rather than a probit link function, which would be the default in Mplus for categorical factor models. And so this then shows you it's an IRT model because we have a logistic regression link function here between theta and the observed item response probabilities. Next are univariate proportions for the observed variables. So those are descriptive statistics for our items. Here you can, for example, see that the category 1, which is the non-solution category here, had 27.8% in the first item and 72.2% did solve this item. So 249 individuals solved the item, 96 individuals did not solve the item. So you can look at those item solution probabilities for all items. You can see here that the last 2 items were more difficult. They had more individuals or higher proportion in the incorrect category 1. Here 74.8%, so 3/4 here did not solve item number 3, and about 2/3, 68%, did not solve item 4. So those were more difficult than the first 2 items. The model estimation terminated normally, and we get fit statistics. Of importance, we can look at a Pearson chi-square test of model fit, and you can see here this chi-square Pearson statistic is not significant, indicating that the Rasch model is not rejected. Since we have only few items here, we can interpret that p-value. You can see the likelihood ratio statistic is very similar and also yields a non-significant p-value. So it appears that these p-values are trustworthy because they're very similar across those statistics, and they both indicate that the Rasch model fits those 4 items well. And then we get our parameter estimates. First, in factor analytic metric, these we typically don't look at. Rather, we go down, we look at the IRT parameterization, where you have the logit metric. And so in the IRT parameterization of the Rasch model, we get item discriminations. You can see those are all equal across the items, which is as it should be. So they are set equal explicitly in the Rasch model. That's because we set all loadings to 1. We fix the loadings to 1, and so that causes those item discriminations to be set equal across items for equal item characteristic curve slopes. Next are the item difficulties. Those can differ across items. You can see the first 2 items have negative difficulties, so they were easier. The last 2 items have positive difficulties. They were more difficult, or they were harder. And so those are the critical parameters of the Rasch model here, those item difficulties. And then we get our Tech 10 output with the observed patterns and pattern frequencies. You can see we have here 16 different patterns, where, for example, pattern number 4 is a pattern where an individual did not solve any of the 4 items, so they had all zeros. And pattern number 6 is one where they did solve all 4 items, so those were individuals who were really good at that test. And so then for each of those pattern numbers, we get the observed pattern frequencies in the next table. So for example, the non-solution pattern 4 here had 52 individuals observed and 48 were expected under the Rasch model. So that's pretty close. And for pattern number 6, for example, we had 29 and 30 were expected. Again, that's pretty close. And you can see that there's no large standardized residual or z-score. None of these z-scores are above 2 or below -2, so they're not significant at the 0.05 level. And again, that shows us that the Rasch model fits these data well. And then when we scroll down further to the bottom, we can see that Mplus saved certain information to our new file rasch.dat. And so in this file, we will have our 4 items that we used in the analysis. So those will be in the first 4 column of this data file. And then next is theta. Theta is the estimated score, the estimated Rasch score for each individual. So that's what you would be looking for. And then next is the standard error for theta. That is also estimated for each person. So we can now take a look at that data file that Mplus generated by clicking on Window. And then here I already have this open, rasch.dat. And so you can see that we have our items here. For example, here I highlighted an individual which had pattern number 4, the all 0 pattern. So this was an individual who did not solve any of the 4 items. And you can see this individual then has a negative theta score, a low score on theta or small score. Each individual who has all zeros has the same theta score of -1.358. You can see here's another one, here's another one. And so those are the ones who had a very low score. Here's one who in contrast had pattern number 6, where they solved all 4 items, and then as a consequence they get a positive Rasch score, and a high Rasch score of 1.592. You can also see in the last column we have the standard errors. Here the standard errors are fairly high, and that's because our sample size was not very large, and also we only had 4 items. So what you can do in order to get better standard errors, meaning more precise estimation of Rasch measurement scores, is to have more items, have a larger scale, so that provides more information then and reduces the standard errors, and or to have a larger sample size so that we can estimate the item parameters more precisely when we have more than a few hundred cases. I hope you found this video useful to learn about how to estimate Rasch scores using Mplus. My name is Geiser, and I'll see you in the next video.